Dr. Chopra, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
One of the things that you come right out in the beginning of your book and say is that we are hardwired to find God. That means everyone?
Yes. As children, all of us have the questions, where did we come from? What are we doing here? Is there meaning or purpose to our existence? What happens after we die? Do we have a soul? And does God exist? If God exists, does he or she care about me? We are the only species that ask that. And inherent in asking that question, because the brain is hardwired to ask the question, therefore the brain is hardwired to find
One of the revolutionary things you say in this book, which is against everything else that I've ever read, is you say when you have a special heart's desire, don't tell anyone.
Right. Manifesting does not take place in the physical world. A tomato cannot reproduce itself without the divine force. If you just leave the tomato just sitting there and let it wither away, it will just die. It needs this divine energy to flow through it. Particles cannot create more particles from particleness. They need to go to no-thingness, to this invisible place. Just like an idea is needed in order to be able to create General Motors or to create this show that we're in, or whatever. So that when you start telling other people about what you'd like to manifest, you instantly go from the world of the spirit into the world of the ego. And your ego gets involved. And now that person says, oh, that's a lot of crap. You know, what kind of stuff is that? Talking to me about being able to manifest wealth. And you can't do that. And immediately you start defending that. Wait a minute. I read a book that says this. I'm really going to work on this. This is really important to me. And instantly you take the energy away from the ability to manifest. You see, when you're inspired in your life, when you're really inspired,
the news media really wants the sensational. They think we have a right to know everything that's happening. Unfortunately, when there's a violent act in another state or even in another country, it feels, because of the closeness of television, like it's right next door. So we all think that there's shootings happening right next door to us. Well, that's not really true. What's happening is that there are acts of violence in the world that are being spotlighted for the first time in a worldwide media.
He looks at the big picture, and you talk about in your book, Salle, you talk about the person who is your girlfriend who says you never did anything right, the interrogator.
Right, right.
And it's very, very hard when you really like somebody, but they're very critical of you. I mean, how do you safeguard yourself? How do you get your prayer field strong? There have been very many cases of people who have gotten a precognition or have had pains in their body at the very time that someone they loved was in an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an example of non-local mind?
Non-local mind, Corinne, is any event in which consciousness operates in a way that gets it outside the brain and body. It can operate at a distance. An example would be distant healing, where we initiate events through caring and empathy and prayer and love that make a difference in other people out there.
One of your famous quotes, and you used it before in your last book, and it is, if the train doesn't stop at your station, it's not your train.
I did. I used that again in this book, as I had, I think, in Return to Love, because so many women and men, I think, relate to that. And that's where I've said to women particularly, but it's true for men, if the train doesn't stop at your station, it's because it's not your train.
Well, somebody said to me, who are you having on your show next? And I said, Mark Victor Hanson. They said, oh, God, you're doing a lot of shows that day. I said, well, Mark Victor Hanson does the show without me. So, I mean, you are...
That's not true.
You are the best.
You are such a gentle...
Welcome to Wisdom Television. Oh, it's wonderful to be on your show. I think what's important to know here is that you're a medical doctor. I am. I'm an MD, 14 years of medical training. And a psychiatrist. I'm a psychiatrist and also a practicing intuitive, where I combine intuition with all the traditional skills I've learned in medicine. You know, you say that this is not so strange anymore. Oh, no. It's the most natural thing in the world when you think of it. A physician who's a healer, who's able to intuit what goes on in their patients, able to interpret dreams, sense subtle energies, ask for inner guidance, use all kinds of intuitions with all the hard science. It's perfectly natural. You have attention deficit disorder.
Yeah.
And yet you have accomplished so much in education and in your practice. And how did you keep yourself focused enough to do that?
Well, you notice that it's really hard for me to answer your question and look at you in your eye. And that's because I'm literally bombarded when I'm with someone. If I look in their eyes, I get information about what's going on in their life, their family's life, their life, what's going to happen to them in the car. And then I have to pay attention to the question you asked.
Buddhism, in the long run, because, you know, they have this interesting view that we are infinitely interconnected with each other. You know, you and I, Corinne, have done this TV show billions of times in trillions of former lives, and we're going to do it again another million times in future lives. So therefore, we'll never get out of each other's face in the Buddhist view. Therefore, we should try to make the best of our interaction so that the next time it's even better, the next time it's even better. Instead, if I blow you off or you blow me off, then next life we come back and we're mad as hell. And it's much worse.
The subtitle of the book is The Reunion of Masculine and Feminine. I didn't know we were apart.
Well, I don't think we were ever together.
No? Tell me a little about that.
Well, for centuries, women have been playing a second-class role.
She said something like, the man has always been, so to speak, superior in the outer world, but inferior in the inner world.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
But what is the inner world? What does that mean?
The world of emotions.
Inside.
Yeah. Men oftentimes don't talk well in that world.
Mm-hmm.
And the world is